Researchers are now claiming that this raw dog food is an international public health risk and authorities, they need to raise awareness. What the? Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. Click there to subscribe. Hit the bell to sign up for notifications. And then when you click the link directly in the box below, I can send you a copy of my free book. A story came out a few days ago based on a study that was published by a group of scientists from Portugal claiming that raw dog food and the like is filled with antibiotic resistant bacteria and may be an impending serious public health risk. So what these scientists did is they studied 55 different types of dog food. They studied kibble, different types of kibble, different types of canned dog food, 14 different types of raw dog food. More specifically, they were looking for a specific type of bacteria called Enterococci. It's known to be one of the biggest and most concerning antibiotic resistant bacteria that will infect skin wounds, for instance, in hospitals. It can be a big cause of urinary tract infections. The big issue there is that many of the Enterococci, a large percent, are resistant to most of the common antibiotics, and there's kind of one last resort antibiotic. Many of the Enterococci bacteria are even resistant to that. Of the food studied, 54% contain the bacteria Enterococci, but most concerning was of the 15 different raw food samples they studied, every single one, it contained Enterococci. Enterococci is a gut bacteria. Obviously, it shouldn't be in your dog's food in the first place. Clearly, there's fecal contamination going on because it is a gut bacteria. It lives in our intestines, your dog's intestines, right? Cow intestines. It's living there fine. But of all the Enterococci bacteria that were found, about 40% of those were drug resistant, meaning they had some resistance to some antibiotics. And almost 1/4 of the Enterococci bacteria that was found was completely resistant to any antibiotic known, even like the last resort antibiotic called linezolid. You can see the public health concern. I mean, it's estimated now that upwards of 1 million people a year die as a result of antibiotic resistant bacteria. I mean, obviously that's estimated to quantumly rise. But it goes back to, like, is dog food a serious source? Is it a real concern for your dog, for us? And, like, you know, what do you make of all of this? Did you just stop feeding raw and just go back to supposedly healthy kibble? I don't think so. Here's sort of my take. One, it does show that there's some big issues around dog food manufacturing. Like, how in God's sake should you find like a gut bacteria, Enterococci, in kibble? Makes no sense. That means there's cow feces somehow making its way onto this kibble which is being cooked. I don't know how, but it is. Okay, I understand raw. I still don't understand the processing. I mean, like, the beef is one section, right? Where's the leg out here? The leg isn't attached to the intestinal tract, so somehow intestinal bacteria are making its way onto this, the meat. So clearly there's some big issues around pet food manufacturing. What does it mean? There needs to be way higher standards. Number two, I mean, this is a normal gut bacteria, right? You've got it in your intestinal tract, I've it in mine. Tula, you probably have it in yours. The issue is when that bacteria gets its way onto a wound. The wound gets infected, you need antibiotics, they're not working because it's resistant. My point here is that it is a normal gut bacteria. It's not like there's this unusual bacteria that's present. 3, really think about practicing good hygiene. Like, you're feeding your dog raw dog food. Make sure the one after you're handling that food, you're handling your dog's bowl, you're washing your hands well, you're using soap and water, you're singing happy birthday a couple times. Really think hygiene, like soap, water regularly anytime you're handling that food. Really be conscious of it. So the last thing you do is you're not infecting yourself with any bacteria that shouldn't be there in the first place. If you are immunocompromised, if you happen to be on like a chemotherapeutic drug, well then, you know, avoid feeding raw food. You know, then in that case, maybe you're not the one that is feeding your dog, or consider something more commercial like kibble. Then my last big point is, like, how many times do you hear about the dangers of feeding raw food to dogs? Like, I can't count the number of articles. It seems like every month or so, like, a new story gets recycled. Are there risks for me to feed this raw food to my dog Tula? Yeah, there is. Yeah, I could get an infection. Of course, I could always wash my hands so I don't get infected and I don't get some antibiotic resistant bacteria. Or I could do the safe thing and feed her a bunch of dry kibble so she gets dehydrated, way too many carbohydrates, more likely to become overweight, diabetic, arthritis, probably increased signs of cancer. Yeah, sure, is that healthy? Not necessarily. Do I think this is something that you just need to dismiss outright? No, I don't. Like, clearly there's a problem. There's no way they should be able to swab, 14 or 15 samples of raw dog food. Like, swab it, culture it, get Enterococci each time. What does that tell me? That tells me is, one, there's an issue with where the beef is coming from in the first place. Potentially feedlots. Like, what are they feeding those cows in the first place? Pumping them with antibiotics. They're producing these antibiotic resistant bacteria in the cows in the first place. Then secondarily, with the processing of that. Like, how is that bacteria getting on the meat in the first place? What am I going to do any differently? I'm still going to feed little Cooley here some raw food. When parts of the steak defrost out, you're going to get some of this tonight. Yum, she love it, but she's not. What else am I going to do? Use some common sense. I'm going to wash my hands well after, right? You follow those steps, think you'll be okay. Your dog's going to be healthier. Just my 2 cents though. Thanks so much for watching this edition of Veterinary Secrets on raw dog food, antibiotic resistant bacteria, most importantly, what you can do about it. Click up there to subscribe, hit the bell to sign up for notifications, then when you click the link directly in the box below, I can send you a copy of my free book.